See, we're so caught up with being refined. But before you can be refined, you first must be defined. Well, I don't understand, Doc. Let me help you. Most of the time when people ask you what your assignment is in the kingdom, you act like little porcupine. You got to understand that when you have been through the fire and the rain, help me, Lord, you're able then to tell them, I know what my assignment is. You're able to tell them where you've been. You ain't afraid to talk about it. Tears don't run down your face. You don't break down like a little coward no more, because he that hath begun a good work in you, now it is completed. And so what God has to do is have to get you to that place of defined assignment where nobody else can characterize you, because that's one of the biggest problems. We've been living, watch this, our anointings in our lives vicariously through other people. They said that you were an evangelist, but God said I called you a prophet. They tried to ascribe to you something that God did not speak to you, and because you had not been through enough to understand who you really were, you accepted what man called you to be. Oh, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I'm looking for my true identity. I'm glad you said that. That brings me to the next point, Your Honor. What is it, Dr. Benny? What is it that you and Job have to ask? Job now wants to know, Your Honor. My client is asking, how come God has him looking guilty? Folks are saying he can't be saved. He must not have God in his life. He's struggling, ain't got nothing. Everything in his life has gone to pitch. He looks like he's failed God. God's sitting on the bench and he's waiting to answer. Job said, wait a minute. I got a witness. I got a rebuttal witness. Can you please bring in Madam of Nain? St. Luke 7 and 11 declares that there was a widow woman who was coming through the city and she was burying her son. This woman now, Your Honor, would like to come and approach the bench. Come here, ye say. She says, well, I was burying my son. I was taking him through the city, and Jesus, the Son of God, happened to have been walking through, saw my circumstance, and had compassion, and raised my boy. Job said, say, that's the problem. If he was going to raise him, why did he let him die in the first place? Wait a minute. I got another witness. Matthew 9 and 18 talks about a woman by the name of Veronica that history has chronicled in the Jewish annals that are. Come here, Veronica. Yes, Your Honor. What have ye say tonight? Well, Your Honor, I was sick. I had a bleeding disorder. I'm known as a hemophiliac for 12 long years. And I had to fight to get in the crowd because I heard that Jesus, the Son of the living God, was passing by. I couldn't get to him, so I grabbed the hem of his garment. And I want you to know, Your Honor, I've been healed ever since. Job said, see, that's what I'm talking about. Why would this God that we love and we honor allow her to bleed and be embarrassed all these years? Allow her to lose her welfare of living, her place in society, just to turn around and heal. God is sitting there now. Can you see our sovereign King sitting on the bench? 40 are the 2 chapters that will allow you to determine and see for yourself that God gives an answer. He gives a rebuttal. He allows Job to make his argument. And God is sitting there. He said, wait a minute, I got one more rebuttal witness. What you got, Job? Well, St. John 9, 1 through 5 talks about a young man. Your Honor, can he please approach the bench? Come in, sir. Coming in wearing Versace shades. Say, Your Honor, I'm here. I was sitting there and people were questioning whether or not I had done something wrong. They were trying to figure out whether my parents sinned or whether I had sinned. And Jesus looked at them and said, nobody did anything wrong. Job said, see, that's what I'm talking about. Why in the world would he allow this man to be blind all these years just to turn around and heal him when he did nothing wrong? Turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, I wonder why God allowed me to go through what I go through just to turn around and bring me out. I don't understand. God now stands up on the bench and says, enough is enough. I like now to state my case. The judge said, speak, God. God stood up, and when he did, time stood still, the stars stood at attention, and the moon went in slow motion. The waters got stiff and the trees said hello. God. He stood up and he said, I want to ask Job a couple of questions before I answer his question. The judge said, ask, Lord. The Lord begins to ask him out of Job 38. He said, oh, Job, where were you when I created the earth? And oh, Job, who decided the earth's size, blueprints, and measurements? And oh, Job, who took charge and babysat the ocean when it gushed forth like a baby from the womb? He said, I'll tell you who it was. That was me. I wrapped the ocean up in soft clouds, tucked it in safely at night. Then I made a playpen for it, a strong playpen so it couldn't run loose. And I told the ocean, stay here, because this is your place, and your wild tantrums will not be tolerated. He said, let me ask you something else, Job. Have you ever ordered morning to get up, and have you ever told dawn to go to work? Let me ask you something else. Do you know the first thing about death? And do you have a clue regarding the dark mysteries of it? And do you know where light comes from and where darkness lives? So you can take them by the hand and lead them home when they get lost. Let me ask you something else, Job. Have you ever traveled to where snow is made? Seen the vault where hell is stockpiled? The arsenals of hell and snow that I keep in readiness for times of trouble and battle and war. Ooh, Job, you asking me all these questions? Where were you, oh Job, when I blew breath and made him a living soul? Oh Job, can you answer that for me? Job cried back out to the Lord and said, oh Lord, I don't understand. I know that there's no way I can answer these questions. There's no way that I could possibly give you an answer. There's no way I could possibly give you what you're looking for. Job, what sayeth thou? God said, I'll tell you the answer. You want to know why I allow so much to happen? You want to know why I'll take a baby out of his mama's arms and the baby never did nothing? You want to know why storms come and swipe out families? You want to know why I allow the righteous to suffer and I allow those that seemingly are wicked to prosper? You want to know why all these things are happening? How come? He said, come here, brother, that was blind and your parents, neither you did anything. He said the answer can be found in this chapter. Jesus said, neither has this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. Here's the answer, Job. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. For when night cometh, no man can work. Job said, God, I still don't get it. He said, what you don't understand, as long as I'm in the world, I am the light of the world. Job said, help me understand. God said, Joanna, can I help him understand? The Lord said, the reason I allow you to suffer in the midst of your enemy, in the midst of the church, in the midst of your family, in the midst of your faith, is because I gave you a word that in the daytime, that's when I work. He said, watch this. I told you in my word that if you suffer with me, then you reign with me. You've been writing songs about it. Songwriter said,